It's November right now, and I thought it'd be fun to take a look at one of my favorite projects I've ever done. Back in 2022, I got to write music for Christmas cookies. I didn't just write music for Christmas cookies, I wrote music for a Christmas cookie and beer pairing. Let me rewind for a bit. My name is Joe Chris, and I write music for food. And one of my favorite ways to do this is in beer pairings and tasting events. What I like to do is I'll sit down with a brewery, I'll sit down with a chef, and I'll try to find something that makes sense. So we've done like pretzel, beer, and mustard pairings. We've done cookie and beer pairings, which sounds weird but works really well. We've done mead pairings. We've done a lot of interesting things. Anyway, looking at it from the point of view of someone who likes to eat and drink, we made these pairings first. So these are the kinds of things you're doing. We're starting from a food-first approach. Now, if you follow my career, you know that I do music for film and branding works. This idea is very similar. Once we have the story we're trying to tell, which in this case is the pairing, we're going to talk in terms of how the music can support that, rather than how the music can be the main meal. If you're ever in a dining environment, first off, you're not there to listen to music unless you're at a very specific type of place. If you go to a steakhouse dinner, there may be a live jazz band, but you're not there for a jazz concert. If you're at a bar, you might be for the band, probably not. Anyway, this idea stems from you want to include all of the senses into a tasting experience. So, at a smokehouse, you might have wood-paneled walls. It might smell smoky. You may hear, like classic rock on the radio station, and you'll get served food in, like, lunch trays versus plates. All of these little sensory details add up to create a total experience for you. It's kind of like Wagner with his Gustampkin work, but around food. So the idea is to create these food pairings that are already unique and delicious, and then add that extra step with music. Diners are allowed to talk over the music, they're allowed to communicate over the music. It's a background layer, but like a film or video game score, it adds so much. The process of doing this. I would sit down with the brewer and really try to understand these beers. Now, I am a brewer myself, and I have worked for breweries, but getting inside the brewer's intention and really understanding where these styles come from, why they made it, and then trying to figure out, one, what cookie we would pair with it, and then two, how we would make music to bring out these ideas. So we would take like an IPA and identify what sort of fruit notes are in the hops, and then pair it with a cookie, like an orange jam cookie. We take a stout and actually have brownies made with the stout and then have like a Guinness frosting on it. So the first beer we had that night was a Kolsch. Kolsches are a very specific type of ale that is fermented like a lager. This makes it very clean, very crisp, but the flavor is so delicate, which makes some interesting opportunities when pairing with cookies. If we were to pair it with a brownie or a thumbprint cookie, the cookie itself might be very overpowering. However, what we ended up doing was we took this Kolsch that had, grassy, hay-like qualities, was a very clean and crisp beer, and we paired it with a cheesecake cookie. Now that's where it got interesting. Trying to figure out how to write music in this sense of, what is this pairing? It's delicate, it's clean, but the cookie's creamy and it complements it. So check this out. In keeping in mind with this sort of folky, traditional styling that doesn't have too much weight to it, I thought it'd be really interesting to do a generative piano soundscape for this. So that's kind of the main idea. I've done it for food, I've done it for beer, and my next step is to try to host it as an event, a sit-down dining event where we can kind of expand it out. Instead of being a tasting through the audience, it is almost an installation throughout the night with a curated menu that the food interacts, almost more in line with Ben Hoag's idea of a food opera. I'm also working on a book about all of this, and I'm really excited to share my research and verbalize my ideas a lot more clearly to you all. So if you're interested, please subscribe or check out my blog where I've written about this at length as well. But thank you, and let's check out the next one.